Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. In today's video we are here as always to break down, react and discuss the latest Rangers game. A Rangers game that saw yet another win, yet another clean sheet, and the performances keep on and keep on and keep on going like that as we just keep on rocking and rolling under Giovanni Van Bronckhorst as we kept the 0 and ripped the soul facing Johnstone. Like, genuinely, nation, there's a real air of a Mortal Kombat flawless victory about that bad boy. I feel like we knew every single button combination with Liu Kang, and Callum Davidson was sitting there just pressing jump because he hadn't had a clue. People from every aspect of the game, that was dominating, that was punishing, and again, the performances are actually getting better, and that's something to look into because we're not only just winning games now and proving that we're champions. No, every single time we're going out in that park, we're looking like it and reminding everyone that we are. Especially our boy Joe Aribo, and I'm sorry about mentioning him so early in today's video because not only are you going to hear it right now, but you're going to hear it throughout the entire freaking game recap because this guy right here, he's just better than everyone. Do you know, whenever you play games, I don't know what you do, if you play FIFA, Madden, Mortal Kombat, whatever you actually play, you know when you come up against that guy that's just better than you at everything, that's exactly what Joe Aribo is. And I know there were some tin pot writers and idiots out there this week crowning another guy as the best player in the country, but anyone with actual common sense and a set of these bad boys right here that's seen a game of football before can look at Joe Aribo, despite how many good players there is in a Rangers shirt right now, and despite how many people are performing at a very high level, you can look at Joe Aribo and just say that boy right there, he's just different. Honestly, for the 6th game now overall, he's just absolutely ran the show. And this freedom and the handbrake off that not only is on this Rangers side, but really for Joe Aribo has just met him perfectly. Because there was a lot of people when Gerrard first left that was worrying about Joe Aribo maybe potentially gone, because obviously we knew what Gerrard thought of Joe Aribo. We heard it so many times, but Joe Aribo is looking 100 times better under Gio than maybe he ever did under Gerrard. And I know I might be a prisoner of the moment of that, but I've never seen him putting this consistency upon a week upon a game freaking basis, because again, he's just better than absolute everyone, and he ran rings round the entire St Johnstone team. Not only will they be seeing him in their sleep the night, honestly, by the time they get back up the road, they should probably rename the stadium after the boy. That is how much he ran the show. But the best thing you can actually say about this Rangers performance versus St Johnstone, who are a notoriously hard team to actually play against, especially when they turn up to Ibrox and play like that, because we know how defensive and the structure and the shape that they actually normally line up in, but it was different the day. Honestly, if I was colourblind and I was just looking at that game of football, I would have imagined we were playing Kilmarnock. That's genuinely how far back it was. Just everybody back, trying to flood the middle, trying to make it difficult. But again, to our credit, and where I was actually leaning before I went down the Kilmarnock pyjama route, was the fact that it wasn't just reliant on one man, Joe Aribo. No, everyone was absolutely sensational, and just some of the football we played, man, had me sitting back smiling like I was like the old Rose. Remember when she's thinking back and telling the story of her and Jack throughout the Titanic? That's how I felt, people. I was just sitting like, that's how I felt. Basically, people, we are pretty good at the old football hang, and I just want to go ahead and transition into the game recap now, right? Because we saw from the first whistle how St Johnstone were going to line up again, everyone back. As soon as the whistle went, they just went whoop, right, all the way back. You can call it a back 5 if you want, but that was a back 8. People, you didn't see that very often, but again, it was just how sharp we were on the ball, the one-touch pass and the carving open and the combination play, which is the bigger difference for me, because again, even last year, we played some nice one-touch football, we really carved teams open, but you can see whenever somebody gets the ball, there is a clear, distinct difference in this Giovanni team, because people actually come closer to him now and make little triangles over the actual play. And the more we're doing it, the more devastating we're actually looking. But again, the little movements and the combination plays, how we get the first highlight in this game. It's a drill pass to Joe Aribo, who's got someone right on him, by the way, trying to nip at his heels, but he just turns him like it isn't even there. People, genuinely just leaves him for dead. The St Johnstone player went that way, Joe Aribo came with the ball that way. It was frightening. Anyway, combination play again with Scotty Arfield. Nice little 1-2. He gives it out wide to Ryan Kent. Ryan Kent takes Sean Rooney for a wee walk, and the eventual shot that is easily saved by Clark. But that was the first little instance of Ryan Kent just straight up bullying Sean Rooney, but it certainly wasn't the last. Because just 5 minutes later, nearly the exact same little combination, Joe Aribo to Scotty Arfield, back to Joe Aribo. Anyway, the ball finds its way to Ryan Kent, who again is now being played as a winger. None of this funneling in the middle crap, letting other people do the job. No, he's out wide, up against the fullback, and you can see it, man. People were talking about Shaun Rooney being this and this and this. He was absolutely roasted the day, man, and that's me being very, very polite. I could have said a hell of a lot worse, ladies and gentlemen, because Ryan Kent fakes to go left, he fakes to go right, he fakes to go left, fakes to go right. Shaun Rooney's like that, Shaun Rooney's like that. Doesn't ken where he is, and eventually, by the time he does find himself spiritually and mentally, Ryan Kent is beyond him, and he's forced another good save for Clark, and I was starting to get a wee bit annoyed, but again, we expect that from Zander Clark. He always has a game versus Rangers. And then a couple of minutes later, if you're not getting tired of Joe Aribo's name yet, let's talk about the 11th minute of the game where he gets the ball on the right hand side, cuts inside, unleashes a ping with a left foot that's probably, if you go to ibrox right now, the post is still shaking right now. Now, as you may have noticed from the quick little recap there, the first 15 minutes was utter domination. It was only a matter of when, not if, and there wasn't even a doubt of the opposition scoring the first goal at Ibrox. The fear factor is well and truly back at this football club, but the only biggest surprise that we got from the game of football was how long it actually took us to take the leads in the actual game, because believe it or not, we're going to jump right to the 40th minute to speak about the next highlight, where again there was some gorgeous football, like truly gorgeous football, and to be fair to St Johnstone, some fantastic defending in that as well, because we can talk about the almost and the maybes, but the reason they are almost and the where they are maybes is because the St Johnstone players are throwing themselves in front of things, blocking things, air and air again. So some good defending certainly played its part in us going right to the 40th minute, was still not the opening goal. And then there was a moment here with Glenn Kamara where he had a couple of times to shoot, if I'm honest with you. I don't know about you people, but see when Glenn Kamara gets the ball at the edge, but there's not one part of me that thinks he shoots. And do you know what I love about Glenn Kamara? Is he fake shots. Who's he fake shotting? Because it's no us, it's no the opposition, it's no the goalkeeper. I think he's fake shotting himself. But anyway, after fake shotting, he gives a nice little combination play again with Alfredo Morelos. It gets inside the box, and it's quite a clumsy challenge from behind. For me, you can get a penalty kick for that, but we'd never had any time to breathe on whether or not it should have been a pen, because not too long after that, we got the goal we well and truly freaking deserved. And the way the opening goal actually unfolds is from a set piece that we actually just put into the mixer. Remember we were doing short corners and that all season long? Mind how painful that was. Well, it's deliveries in at the box here, and it's a good ball to Connor Goldson. He headers it to the back post, and Alfredo Morelos is there at the back post to finish it with a fantastic header and give us the lead. Again, we deserved. But even when we got the first goal, there was no worried about, alright, maybe we'll sit off now or anything like that. No, we were still after it. And in the 45th minute, by the way, we nearly had another goal / a massive penalty claim as well. And I'm interested to see what you're thinking about this, right? Because Ryan Kent on the left-hand side, I honestly just leaves Shaun Rooney to death. There's no point in even mentioning that guy's name all afternoon, if I'm honest. We're just chasing shadows every day. So he skips by him, he runs into the box, he gets clipped by Liam Craig. He goes, like he kind of trips, and if he goes down, it's quite clearly a penalty kick. But Ryan Kent stays on his feet, and credit to him and everything, has a shot, but he drags it wide. So I just wanted to know your thoughts and opinions on that, because he didn't go ahead and burst in it. Should that have been a penalty kick in your opinion, or has Ryan Kent been punished for not going to his feet and making a meal of the contact? Something he was slaughtered for by the press for reasons I still didn't understand after the Hibs game, after he was quite clearly taken out, but he was slaughtered for going down and making a meal of the contact. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, he didn't make a meal of the contact. He stayed, he battled on his feet, but he didn't get the penalty. I just want to know your thoughts and opinions. Should we have got one for that? But coming out into the second half, it was just more of the same, please, Rangers, and there really was. And again, I'm skipping over so many fantastic moments. I'm not talking about Glenn Kamara winning the ball back 75 times in today's video. Honestly, he just plays that midfield role himself, and it annoys me that we spent so long sitting him next to Stephen Davis and Scotty Arfield, Stephen Davis, Joe Aribo, handcuffing him and making three people do that job, because it's quite clearly, it is evident to everyone that he can do it himself, and he's majestic at it. But I want to talk about the 50th minute, and that was the second goal of this game, because I love it, because Hadji with a nice drilled pass into Joe Aribo, very reminiscent to the first highlight we spoke about. Aribo just turns his man effortlessly. Honestly, Tina Turner would be proud of that turn. Just leaves him, and then he gives the ball to Alfredo Morelos, who's looking like a different man as well. By the way, he gallops, just gallops down the wing, gets his head up, pulls it to the back post where Ryan Kent is there with a lovely little finish to get his individual battle with Clark over and give him the advantage. It's a wonderful work goal, and I just love every part of it. I love Haji's positivity, I love Joe Aribo's skill, I love the work rate, the effort, and just the quickness of Alfredo Morelos, because I want to talk about this and that as well. For me, Morelos is like a completely different animal now, ladies and gentlemen. Not only is that 5 goals now in 5.5 games with a cheeky assist to boot as well, by the way, but he just looks slimmer, he seems more alert, he seems to be going into positions, and he seems to be enjoying football a little bit more. He's coming out here and he's just buzzing to be involved. It's as if Giovanni is looking that man in a cupboard and feeding him only celery sticks throughout the week, and then unleashing him 10 minutes before kick-off and saying, go and get them, Alfredo, because he's coming out there and he's just raring to fricking go. So as you can imagine, with the second goal in the game, that was well and truly game, set and match, despite St Johnstone making a couple of changes, like they brought on Stevie May and everything like that, but he was a complete non-factor in the game as well. Very well marshalled by Calvin Bassey and Connor Goldson, whose partnership continues to grow as well. By the way, I thought both of them were majestic in their own ways. Connor Goldson in the air, the physicality of Calvin Bassey and the quickness of Calvin Bassey, they really work well with each other. But there is a couple of little things I want to talk about before we wrap up the game recap. Let's talk about the penalty claim for St Johnstone that Callum Davidson was absolutely adamant that was a penalty kick. Well, I think Callum's going to have to apologise to the fourth official for getting in his face and screaming, because in the 70th minute of this game, a little bit lax from Rangers, despite some fantastic play and build-up. We did take a little bit off it, just enough, and that gave St Johnstone an opportunity as they come in, they nip in front of Glenn Kamara, who's expecting the little pass from the defence. Maybe he doesn't get the shout, that's what it looked like he was saying after the actual chance that no one shouted man on. But either way, Liam Craig nips in front of him, drives into the box, and when I tell you, this man, when he got in the box 1v1 with Alan McGregor, he didn't fancy it at all. I'm telling you, he didn't fancy it at all, because he was on his way down like this. It was like the slowest fall I've ever seen. It was like he was a clown. You know when they used to do that thing where they go, I've gone downstairs now? That's what Liam Craig was doing on a football park. It was an embarrassing dive, and he quite rightly got the cheeky yellow cards. But where they could have took that frustration about not getting the penalty kick and being booked for diving and everything like that, maybe they could have really rallied and took over the game or anything like that. No, St Johnstone just got ripped apart again by the name of Joe frickin' Aribo. And what I love about this one and that as well is it's just glorious football. Glenn Kamara to Joe Aribo, he beats one, Haji screaming for the ball in between, like he's got this much a gap, but that's enough when you've got the wand of a left foot like Joe Aribo. He fits it in between the gap. Haji does so well to cut it in. He leaves a defender for dead, but again, full credit to, I think it's McCart, this one, who gets his body on the line. Very, very frustrating. But I wanted to talk about this not only because of that gorgeous move, but Ibrox literally got up on their feet because the ball that was bouncing in the air, Joe Aribo took down like that, and the entire crowd went mental. You could actually hear the gas. This is what this laddie is doing on a week-in basis. Again, I've probably said it 700 times in today's video, but there's no one near him. And before we do wrap up today's video, there's obviously one potential worry, and that is the fact that Barisic did limp off the park in the 77th minute of the game, with young Nathan Patterson coming on and playing the old youth academy role at left back. That could be interesting. He might get a run out there. He's obviously played that during the youth academy, or we may bring Jack Simpson in, or maybe try and change Bassey back out to left back. It could be an interesting one, but fingers crossed it's nothing too serious for Barisic, and maybe he's just clocked it early because again he was able to go off the park his actual self. So fingers crossed there's nothing too serious. When there is an update, scroll down and I'll tell you in the comments section below. Now there is one last thing that I do want to talk about, and it starts with Scotty Arfield, who I thought was brilliant on the day as well. So much energy, so much drive, so much passion. Honestly, that man would slide tackle his own auntie during Christmas if it meant a possible opportunity of an attack for Rangers. It's brilliant ball for him in behind for Alfredo Morelos. It's bouncing. Morelos goes for the chip, mishits it completely, goes straight to the arms of Xander Clark. But what I like about Morelos, as soon as he does it, he misses that one view. Has a wee touch of the hamstring, so everyone forgets about the miss, and they're all going, oh, I hope he's alright. See that man? That man never had anything wrong with his hamstring. That guy's just sitting here playing chess while the rest of us are sitting here playing checkers because until I mentioned it, do you remember Morelos missing that 1v1? No, you didn't, do you? No. You remember the possible hamstring from Morelos. Exactly. But with that being said, feel free to disagree down there in the comment section below because I want to ask you your feelings, your thoughts and opinions, and who was your man of the match. And whilst you go ahead and hopefully get involved in the comments, I will jump over to Twitter and read from the old people. And the first shout in comes from Jake, and he goes, Joe Aribo. That is all that needs to be said. Probably right there. Peter Ramsey is the next one in, and he writes in, Aribo easily marry the match on a different level. Just hope he can keep clubs away in January. Hope Barisic's injury is not too serious. Pena Cartel, the brother from another mother, writes in, Aribo or Morelos. That control from Aribo might just give him the edge. That's the one I mentioned in the game recap when everyone just went, it was like Jesus was born and just, Next one on is Geo Zero Defenders. We are quite good at football, but even better at keeping the zero. Man of the match is Brick Wall. Bassey, love to see Bassey getting some love. The next one in comes from Robin. He writes in 50 grand, Glenn Kamara. You know, the old tune. David Gibson simply writes in, Messi wears Aribo pyjamas. Never heard of this Messi. Has he ever done it versus St Johnstone? Not for me, so no interest in him. Jake Rampage writes in, Aribo clear man of the match, but special shout out for Kamara. Just oozes quality. Exactly, mate. And the last two that we'll read out, the first one comes in from John Steele, and he writes in, the magnificent Joe Aribo. That's all I need to say. And the last one comes in out from today's video. Scroll all the way up here, scroll all the way down here, and we'll stop it right here. And it comes from Gustav, the OG of the channel, and he writes in, Aribo, boy could control asteroids falling out the sky. Well, I bet the dinosaurs wish he was there back then. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard from the people. You've heard from myself. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do by now. And as always, I've been CJNova92. That has been a sleepy Rocky Boy Johnson. Take care of yourselves, everyone. All the best, and bye-bye.